On the last day of the Premier League, Tottenham Hotspur survived the relegation, and after that they were just celebrating as they have won Champions League and Premier League combined. That was embarrassing. On the other side of the top 5 league in the Serie A, AC Milan just shocked the world by sacking all the board for not qualifying to the Champions League. And that I'm going to discuss. First of all, I would like to start that yesterday some shocking news came that the owner of the AC Milan sacked all the board staff from CEO to the director and head coach and also the recruiting staff for not qualifying to the Champions League as they have lost to Cagliari in the final match at home. That was a shocking result as they had in a better position and everything was on their hand. If they win, they would qualify, but they couldn't do that. Like overall, if we just analyze the AC Milan's game, that was quite shocking because they lost a lot of matches. They were in a quite better positions in the first half of the season, and after that they just degraded and couldn't even qualify to the Champions League. It is, like that kind of with that kind of manner, the big clubs should react, not like celebrating for the not going to the Serie B or a championship, but reacting even if they don't go to the Champions League. The thing what I want to tell is if we analyze AC Milan's period like prime and not being in a good positions, we could see that after Carlo Ancelotti left the club, they are not good enough anymore. They are not big club anymore. It's like, I find some kind of similarities with Manchester United. Because as Alex Ferguson left the club, they are not in a good positions. The same I could mention about AC Milan. AC Milan at least won the title, yes, once, but it's like not quite the same level as they were with Carlo Ancelotti. With Ancelotti, they were fighting for Champions League for the title, and they were winning that. I could mention that the previous owner, Berlusconi, played an important role on, bringing the best players, big stars like David Beckham, Ronaldinho, and so on and so on. Their squad was just like playing a PlayStation game, some kind of computer games, because the squad was so good, so like with big stars. And after that Berlusconi had some difficulties with his budgeting, or let's say with the money, and he didn't sell the club till it almost collapsed, till it almost went to the Serie B. And after that the new owners came, and nowadays there were some periods they just were some owners and they sold to some nowadays to the newest owners. So the situation is not quite well for AC Milan, let's say, because if you look to the squad, I don't really know who they are, who in AC Milan is playing. Like before that, I just at least know their squad, the players' name, but right now it's so difficult. I know that Luka Modric is playing there, but he's 41 or 40, something like that, and expecting something extraordinary from the player who is 40. And who can just change the whole game of whole performance of the team is like so stubborn. And I mean, just the board, what the board is doing in the last years it was quite not good enough. The things and their appointments, their transfer strategy was like was everything to fail. They just brought some kind of Fonseca, for example, after Pioli. Pioli was also not good enough in some cases I could mention, but he won at least Serie A. But at the same time, I don't think that Pioli was a good coach. There was a good structure because of Paolo Maldini. He built a good structure. It's like, in Inter Milan, for example, they have a good squad, they have a good structure, but at the same time, their coach maybe is not too much good. But at the same time, they are winning the title. And that period was about that. But after Pioli have left the club brought Fonseca for I don't know for what reason. For me, Fonseca is a type of coach who is overrated, and I don't understand why the clubs are bringing him, because he's a totally loser. He's a loser. And I couldn't get it. I couldn't get why they brought after that Consensao, and they just sacked him. And after that, they brought Allegri. Full of mistakes in bringing the head coach. Because in the to succeed in football, you have to have the best possible head coach or manager, because otherwise you will 100% fail. So it was quite wrong. There was quite wrong decisions, and also in the recruitment, it was not quite not quite good. You have to invest a big money and buy the, players with quality, not just pay attention to the quantity. You have to do that, and it was quite bad. It was quite bad. So nowadays they are looking for the new head coach. And bringing new board members is I'm not sure that it will somehow help. You can just bring one person and say to him just for example, help to the manager, and he will deal with all the stuff, with the contracts, with the negotiations, with bringing the players, and other side manager can do this kind of job like tactics and other stuff. For example, in Manchester United, Sir Alex Ferguson worked like that with David Gill. He had just David Gill, and that's it. It was his structure. And sometimes it's enough. For example, people are saying nowadays that this football has changed and blah, 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 But you can work with this kind of structure. I'm totally sure that you can work with this kind of structure. The main thing is the manager, what you have brought, is suits for the structure. Is he good enough for working like that? This is the most important part of this question. The answer for it. So, nowadays they are looking for Andoni Iraola. And, Andoni Iraola is, for me personally, he's one of the big talents in Europe, and he can just make your team much more better. The question is, can he win something as a title? Because some head coaches are good in developing the teams, but for them difficult to win the title, to do the final step in the game. Let's say for example, Pochettino. He is a very good coach in developing the clubs, developing the teams. He can be even manager. He's a good at bringing the quality, the players with quality, who is young but not too much expensive. But at the same time, he cannot do the final step. He cannot win the title, So the question is, Andoni Iraola is that kind of coach as Pochettino, or he can be a serial winner or not, So it's like in that sense it can be quite risky. But if we look to and analyze to the market, who is there except from Iraola, they can be Rubén Amorim. For me, Rubén Amorim is a winner. He just did it with Sporting, and he could do it with Manchester United if they gave him, enough time, let's say, or he will not fight with the board. So For me, Rubén Amorim made a fantastic job for a short period of time in Manchester United. He just, changed the atmosphere, changed the character of the players. He just read out of the players who are not good enough, who doesn't suit by the character, and raised the good character. And after that, Carrick has used it. So for me, Rubén Amorim is underrated head coach. So for AC, if I was in an AC Milan's position, I would try to bring Rubén Amorim. I'm just, I would try to, if I was the owner of this club, I would try to bring Rubén Amorim to the club because he would make your club champion again if you support him in the transfer window and bring the players that he wants. Basically, your team gonna be the champion. I'm sure about that. And your team gonna dominate in Italy, in Serie A again. And maybe they will even go to the Champions League and win it after developing the club after 3-4 years. So Rubén Amorim for me is the ideal candidate. But they are looking for Iraola. Iraola can be also, but he's not have won something yet and as a coach. So it will be quite risky, but at the same time, he's also talented. I could mention about Xavi also. Xavi, with his club has won a lot of titles as a player. He was exceptional player. And he just was coached with Pep Guardiola, with Luis Enrique, with Louis Van Gaal. And, he has a, big experience and big knowledge on it. He can just integrate the Barcelona's playing attacking football, style to AC Milan. But Xavi is like, I don't know. I'm not sure about that. Will he come or not to the AC Milan? But however, he can be also the candidate. I could mention about Antonio Conte also. However, I'm not quite sure that he gonna come. For me personally, if I just analyze Serie A, it seems like Napoli can bring Rubén Amorim as a system quite suits well as the previous one with the three backs. Juventus can bring Antonio Conte, and AC Milan maybe Andoni Iraola, or if Iraola doesn't accept that and if he maybe decides to stay in Premier League, they can be a Xavi instead of him. So there is a quite this domino situation in Italy has started. So from the previous news, we just have realized that Lazio appointed Gennaro Gattuso as a head coach, as a new head coach, and Atalanta brought for themselves Maurizio Sarri. So right now the situation is changing as Conte has started this domino, and it's quite interesting what is gonna happen. But for me, it's like the most important thing now is the owner, as they just he was abused in the match with Cagliari. He need to accept it in the right way and do the things with the motivation. This is the most important thing. He needs to bring the best possible coach who is a serial winner, who can just integrate his ideas, who is strong enough in tactics and also young, because he can just give some new ideas for the long term as a long-term project. Also, he like owner needs to support that head coach or manager that he will bring, and the structure needs to be correct. I mean, if the structure is correct, as we could see from Inter Milan, your team can succeed because Inter Milan doesn't have a lot of money, but they are very good. They are very, very good. Even if Antonio Conte left their club, they are very, very good. And the reason is Beppe Marotta. Beppe Marotta is one of the best person, like in the football for me, like who can be in your board. He will transform your team. He will just make your team the best at least in your league, and also your team will start to fight for Champions League to win it, as AC Milan, as Inter Milan have done. So Beppe Marotta, He has done the exceptional job in Juventus, and after coming to Inter, he is just doing the exceptional job is there also. So this is vital. So let's see what's gonna happen with AC Milan. But for a football fan, I hope that AC Milan will come back their glories as they just before, because Champions League needs this kind of club in their competition, and Serie A needs the winner like in their competition as AC Milan, because this is a huge club. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.